It was summer on the island of Sodor. Thomas was taking some workmen to a building site. They were building a new station. I can't wait for the grand opening. Me too. And me. There are going to be flags and decorations and... Oh, Thomas, you're making it up. No, I'm not. Near Kelstor is a difficult bend. Slow down, Thomas.
While Thomas was returning home, Spencer, the silver engine, was coming to Sodor. Thomas was at Merron when he saw him. Oh my, I never thought I'm going to see him again. Spencer stopped at random docks to take Duke and Duchess of Boxford to Knapford. Soon he arrived there. Well done, said his driver, you broke the record again. Of course, I'm faster than all the engines here. This made the Fat Controller's engines very cross. Now attention everyone, said the Fat Controller. Spencer is taking Duke and Duchess to their summer house. Another engine is to take their furniture.
The engines were happy. They were going to be racing with Spencer. Sir, they said, may I go? No, you all have your own job to do. For example, you, Gordon, you are to go to the docks.
To help Salty with some trucks.
You're sending a slow engine to race with a big one. I should be doing it. Nothing against you, Edward.
But you're not as fast as Spencer. No, it's okay.
Sir, Edward is going to lose the race and let the whole railway down.
You should have asked Gordon, not Edward.
Don't listen to them, Edward, said Thomas. You can do it. Edward set off slowly, but Spencer was coming behind him quickly. Silly engine, when will he learn? I won already! I'm faster than him. At Wellsworth, Duke and Duchess wanted to have some tea, so Spencer stopped. Edward was coming up behind him. Out of puff, aren't you? Teased Spencer. The workmen were cheering, and Edward, hooray, you can do it! While Gordon was returning from the docks, he could see Spencer up ahead. Edward is a waste of steam, he said. But then he saw Edward trying his hardest and he felt sorry at once. Hooray for Edward! You can do it, I know you can! Edward felt happier.
Spencer
Had to stop because the Duke wanted to make some photographs of the nature. Spencer closed his eyes. Edward overtook Spencer and was soon at the bottom of Gordon's Hill. Thomas and Douglas were there too. Hooray for Edward! Don't be afraid of Spencer just because he's bigger than ya. Show him who's Edward, the blue engine. This made Edward feel much happier. Spencer woke up and he realized that he overslept, so he took off at once. Edward was nearly coming to the summer house, and Spencer was catching up with him. And indeed, Edward was there first. Hooray, I did it! Phew. At Wellsworth, the Fat Controller wanted to praise Edward. Well done, he said. As a reward for beating Spencer in the race, you can have a day off tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
My friends kept encouraging me, so well done, Edward, good for you. Well, happy to have a day off.
But sir, who will be looking after Wellsworth Yard while Edward is having a day off? Don't worry, I shall find another engine. And now, if you could make way, Toby is coming. Later, Toby was pulling his milk train to Gordon's Hill. He didn't find it much hard. Soon Gordon arrived with his express. but the express was very heavy. Soon Edward came to push him up the hill. "Slow, coach," he said. "You're not a proper engine." "Don't worry, Toby," said Edward. "At least you didn't need my help, unlike Gordon."
Toby was still feeling very sad.
Later, Toby was at Wellsworth when he met Diesel. "What's the matter, Toby?" he asked. "Gordon said I'm not a proper engine." "Toby, you're the same size as me, so if Gordon thinks you're not a proper engine, he doesn't think I'm the proper engine either," he said.
It's time I gave that big blue engine a lesson about small engines. He thinks they're not proper.
Diesel met Gordon at Brandon Docks. "Make way, Diesel," he said. "The express is coming through." Diesel had to move. "You steamies are old and out of date. I heard from Toby that you were saying he's not a proper engine." "Toby is the same size as me, so that means I'm not a proper engine either? Ha! But he's a steam engine and you're a diesel. The Fat Controller should scrap you. Pah!" Later, the Fat Controller was at Knapford, thinking about which engine to choose to work at Wellsworth, when he saw Toby coming by. "That's it! Toby should be the one," he said. That night, the Fat Controller came to see Toby. "Toby, Edward is having a day off tomorrow, so I need you to look after Wellsworth Yard." "But sir, I will never be able to do Edward's job. He's a proper steam engine." "Oh, come on." "Gordon says I'm not a proper steam engine." "Don't worry, Toby. I'll talk to him." The next morning, Toby puffed out of his shed. "What's the matter, Toby?" asked Henrietta.
Don't listen to Gordon. He's just...
"Oh, Henrietta, I'm supposed to be looking after Wellsworth Yard today, but I'm afraid I can't do it." "Of course you can do it, Toby,"
said Henrietta.
"I just hope I won't be pushing Gordon up the hill,"
said Toby.
Soon Toby arrived at Wellsworth Station. "Maybe I can do it," he said. He shunted coal trucks for Henry.
Thank you, Toby. You're welcome, Henry.
Slate trucks for Donald.
Thank you, baby. You're welcome.
And fruit and vegetable trucks for Douglas. Then he saw Gordon rushing by. Gordon soon stopped at the hill. "Oh, bother," he said. His driver went to telephone for help, and when he returned, Gordon was very cross to learn who is coming. "Toby! Ha! He can't do it."
He's not a proper steam engine like Edward. It would take him ages and ages.
Soon Toby came up behind Gordon. He gave a great push.
Ha! It's all you can do, Toby. Ha! They should have sent a proper engine.
And soon Gordon was at the top of the hill. "Hooray! I knew I can do it," said Gordon. "But I did it," said Toby. On his way back, he could hear some squeaking noise. Oh, he groaned. What is happening? Later, Gordon was at Knapford Station. The Fat Controller was cross with him. Gordon, you've been saying rude things about Toby. Oh, tomorrow I am taking some children on a boat trip. I wanted to choose Thomas, but I will choose you. You have to do it, Gordon. The ship leaves at 9 o'clock, so be here. Gordon didn't want anyone to know about his problem.
That night, the Fat Controller came to visit Toby. Well done, Toby, he said. Today you were really very useful indeed. Thank you, sir. I pushed Gordon off the hill and shunted trucks. Yes, I've heard about this. I spoke to Gordon already. I'm going to punish him for talking nonsense about you. You are really useful indeed. Oh, thank you, sir. I hope Gordon will be given a lesson. The next morning, Gordon puffed quietly out of the shed.
The Fat Controller was cross with him. Gordon, where have you been? It's almost 8:30. Oh, sir, I'm sorry. Don't forget, you're the fastest engine on Sodor, so that's why I've chosen you. This made Gordon feel much better. But soon he started to hear his squeaking, rattling and rolling sound again. Oh dear, he groaned. The Fat Controller was cross. Why are you messing about? Oh dear, this is sure to be my last ride, he groaned. If this was meant to be his last ride, he wanted to go as fast as possible. Soon, Gordon arrived at Brandon Docks. An hour later, the Fat Controller returned and talked to Gordon. That was a great trip, but tell me, why didn't you go to the steamworks? The steamworks? Yes, I noticed you've got problems with squeaking, rattling and rolling. You have to be fixed. So you're not going to scrap me, sir? Of course not, Gordon.
Ha! I knew I shouldn't have trusted that stupid diesel, said Gordon as he chuffed away.
When Gordon returned to Knapford, Henry was coming.
Gordon was cross.
Keep your smelly goods out of my passengers. But it's only logs. Passengers and goods don't mix, said Gordon.
But they won't hurt your passengers.
I wish I could pull the express too, said Henry. Cheer up, said his driver. Would you like to take the coaches back to Knapford Yard? Okay. Henry, tender engines don't shunt. Is your brain able to remember this rule?
Oh, Gordon, stop saying it. Gordon had to go to the steamworks to be repaired. Hi, Victor, can you...
Later, Henry stopped at a forest and saw some children talking to a tree. What are the children doing? That is the old Sodor wishing tree. They are making a wish. Do you think it could make my wish come true too, Thomas? Of course, said Thomas. I wish I could pull the express. That evening, the Fat Controller came to see Henry. Henry, tomorrow you will be pulling the express for Gordon. This made Henry happier. Hooray! Thomas was right. The wishing tree does work. It made my wish come true. The next morning, Henry puffed happily to Knapford Station. Listen, passengers. Today's express is pulled by Henry. Soon Henry took off, but on his way he was bumping his train and couldn't help it. Hey, you can bump logs, but you can't bump passengers. Sorry, said Henry. Soon he came to Vickerstown Station. The Fat Controller was there. Henry, there have been a complaint. Passengers aren't like logs. You have to be careful. Yes, sir, said Henry. Sorry, sir. But I have heard that a dining coach is waiting for you at Knapford. You can take it on your next ride. Yes, sir, said Henry. Later, Henry met Thomas at Knapford. Thomas, is this the dining coach I'm supposed to be taking? Yes, Henry, it is. Henry was happy. He was reversing very careful. He bumped the dining coach and all the foods and plates flew everywhere. Oh dear, now there are sure to be more complaints. Henry passed Haldane station when he saw Edward talking to Percy at the steamworks. So that's why he's not pulling. Oh dear, I shouldn't have wished I could pull the express. At Crovan's gate he met Stepney. What's the matter, Henry? He asked. I caused Gordon to go to the steamworks. I only wished I could pull the express. Oh, don't be ridiculous, said Stepney. I'm sure it was just a coincidence. Henry wanted to find the wishing tree and cancel his wish, but he couldn't remember which one was it.
Well, I'll have to improvise now.
Then Thomas arrived with the Fat Controller. Henry, what are you doing?
You are causing confusion and delay.
Sir, I was just wishing I couldn't pull the express. Henry, said the Fat Controller, Gordon had problems, so he had to go to the steamworks, and tomorrow he will be back. Henry was happy.
Could now be himself again.
The next day, Gordon returned to Knapford. Thomas and Henry were happy to see him. It's good to see him back. Yes, said Thomas, although you are friendlier than him. Yes, said Henry. Hey, what job do you do out on the main line? I'm taking workmen to Kelsthorpe. They are building a new station there. Oh yes. Later that day, the Fat Controller came to see Thomas. Today, Annie and Clarabelle are going to the steamworks to their refit. But sir, how am I going to take the workmen to the station? You can use ordinary coaches instead of them. If you want to say goodbye to Annie and Clarabelle, you can, before Edward will take them to the steamworks. Thomas went to say goodbye. I shall miss you guys. I don't know how will I manage the difficult bend without you. Goodbye, Thomas, said Annie and Clarabelle. Then Thomas went to pick up the new coaches. Thomas was very sad. He bumped them, and the coaches bumped into James, who was taking on water. Watch where you're going, said James. I'm sorry, said Thomas. I was just sad. James angrily watched the train leaving. If I'll go very fast, I'll have that difficult bend over before I know it, said Thomas. But then there was trouble. It happened. Thomas derailed. Oh dear, I'm a very silly engine, he said. An hour later, Harvey arrived to clean the mess. Why are you so sad? I'm not a very useful engine without Annie and Clarabelle. You are, and a jolly good friend too. By the way, I have heard that tomorrow night there will be a fireworks harvest. The Fat Controller won't let me see it. Daisy had to take the workmen home. She was excited. Thomas, I must thank you. For what? For derailing the coaches. The Fat Controller originally wanted me to shunt trucks at Bickerstone Yard. Well, I'm glad you're pleased. I'm sad. I'm missing Annie and Clarabelle. I hate shunting. Well, thanks anyway. Goodbye. The next morning the Fat Controller came to Dinner Shed. Tonight will be a fireworks harvest festival, he said. James, I want you to collect the fireworks vans. James was excited. Thomas was sad. But I wanted to take it, he said. The Fat Controller chose me because I'm red as a rocket and twice as fast. And by the way, you proved to be very irresponsible yesterday about derailing The coaches, said James. Thomas had to shunt coal trucks at the coaling plant. He hated it.
The trucks were cross. Hey, watch where you're going and what are you doing?
Bother that James, he said. Doesn't he realize that the incident with those coaches was an accident? Meanwhile, James had arrived at Cronk Depot. He was thinking about all the sparkles and fireworks when suddenly James couldn't move. He broke down.
Oh dear, now I'll never deliver the fireworks.
Meanwhile, Gordon had brought all the passengers from all over Sodor when Thomas arrived. Thomas, James has broken down. Unless somebody can fetch him here to Knapford, the fireworks will have to be cancelled. I'll go and fetch him, sir. Thank you, Thomas. And soon he found James. Hello, busted boy. You don't look really useful. I can't see in front. Could you look out for me, please? But you said I don't look really useful. Thomas was sad. I'm sorry. Of course you do. Listen, I don't want the fireworks to be cancelled.
All the children would be sad.
Okay, Thomas, said James, I will. So they set off. But then there was trouble. They had to stop at a red signal. Why is the signal red? Asked James. It's nearly time for children to go to bed. I will have to cancel the fireworks. Then Thomas had an idea. Mr. Driver, light up a rocket. Are you sure? Yes. So the driver did. The Fat Controller and Gordon noticed it. That must be Thomas and James. Gordon, don't move. Soon Thomas and James were on their way again. And soon they reached Knapford Station on time. Good work, you two, said the Fat Controller. Well done, Thomas, said James. That night at Tidmouth Sheds, Thomas and James were watching the fireworks together. And thanks for helping me. Yes, I was just jealous about you taking the train. Yes. By the way, what job will you be doing tomorrow as Annie and Clarabelle are still at the steamworks? Maybe the Fat Controller will ask me to take you to the steamworks. Yes, maybe so. But the next morning, it was Edward who was asked to take James to the steamworks. The Fat Controller had other jobs for Thomas. Thomas, the fishermen have managed to catch their biggest fish catch of all. I need you to help Arthur take it to Brandon Docks. Thomas was very cross. Then the Fat Controller came to see Salty. I need you to go to Knapford Harbour and pick up the fresh diesel fuel right away. Yuck! It's a smell. Then Arthur arrived. Thomas, there are 28 trucks of fish. You are to take only 5. Thanks goodness. Why? You will be returning for more trucks, said Arthur. Thomas watched Arthur leaving with his 5 trucks. Then he had an idea. I'll take all 23, he said. Then I'll have the smelly job over. On the way, the fish kept landing on Thomas. And what served you right for bumping us earlier? Thomas came to Gordon's Hill. It was hard work. And then
down the hill again and he couldn't stop. Oh my, what is happening? Help!
Salty was waiting on the main line when suddenly... Oh dear! I'm sorry, Salty. I do not mind it. It reminds me of the smell of the sea. Then the Fat Controller arrived on board Harvey. Thomas, your friend Arthur told you to take only 5 trucks. You should have done that. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir, said Thomas.
Now I would like you to take trucks by 5 to Brandon Docks. Is that clear?
When the trucks were back on rails, Thomas took them only by 5, and when he delivered it to the docks, he would return for 5 more. At last, he had only his last load of fish. The Fat Controller was waiting for Thomas at the washdown. "Well done, Thomas," he said. "I know you don't like the smell of fish, but you've been working really hard. Now you can get washed." Thomas was happy. "Being cleaned is nice," said Arthur. "Especially when you smell like fish," said Thomas, "which I do. By the way, Salty, what were you doing there?"
I didn't mean to bump into you.
"I was on my way to Knapford Harbour, me hearty, to collect a fresh diesel fuel." Later, the Fat Controller came to see Thomas. "Thomas, I need an engine that would be working at Farquhar Quarry. Would you like to?" "Oh yes, sir, thank you," said Thomas.
I like working at the quarry on my branch line. Good, I knew I can rely on you.
The next morning, Thomas puffed to Farquhar Quarry. Diesel was there. "Oh, it's you. What are you doing here?" "I've come to help Mavis, of course." "Steamies can't help, not like a diesel." "Nonsense," said Thomas.
The Fat Controller told me to work here, so I am.
He puffed away. Diesel noticed something. "Yuck, Thomas, smells like a fish." Later, Thomas was shunting trucks under the stone hopper when suddenly Diesel pushed him. "Oh dear," groaned Thomas.
Diesel, what are you doing?
"What's that horrible smell?" "Oh, it's a stinky, steamy. Smells like a fish oil." "How rude," said Thomas. "No wonder the Fat Controller wants to scrap steam engines." Thomas's wheels and footplate were damaged. Mavis arrived to help Thomas. "Thank you, Mavis," said Thomas.
You're welcome, Thomas. Are you okay? "No, my wheels and footplate are damaged." "Oh dear, that Diesel. I will have to rescue you." "Yeah, will you take me to the steamworks, Mavis?" "Of course I will, Thomas," he said.
An hour later, Mavis brought Judy and Jerome, and they loaded Thomas on a low loader. Thomas's driver telephoned the Fat Controller. So Thomas had to go to the steamworks because Diesel pushed him under the stone hopper and his wheels and footplate got damaged. Oh, and you're saying that Thomas is going to be back at the quarry before night? Okay, he can spend the night there. And you've got my permission to spank Diesel's driver. Mr. Driver, yes? That night, Thomas returned to the quarry. "Thank you, Mavis, for helping me. And thank you, Mr. Driver, for spanking Diesel's driver." "You're welcome, Thomas. But aren't you going to get fired out for this?" "No, the Fat Controller gave me his permission to do it." The next morning, Salty arrived. "Hello, me hearties. It's a fresh diesel fuel from the mainland." Soon, Mavis and Diesel started to drink. "The fresh diesel fuel makes my axles tingle." "Coal doesn't make my axles tingle," said Thomas. "I wish I could get a fresh diesel fuel too." "You, Thomas? Ha! You're a stinky steamy." "Watch this! I'm the fastest engine in the world!" Then there was trouble. Diesel overheated. "Oh, what is happening?" groaned Mavis. "Oh my," said the quarry manager. "It has been raining last night. While the fuel was at the harbour, the rainwater must have get in the fuel. Oh, thanks goodness Salty brought the fuel only here, not Thomas. Salty brought the fuel to all the diesels."
The diesels over Sodor got broken down. Daisy, Derek, Boko, Ari, Bert, and even salty, so they must be all broken down.
Oh my god! All my diesel friends are ruined! But what if I would purchase fuel from Kronk Fuel Depot and disguise it as the new fuel? Delightfully devilish, Thomas.
Thomas, with his crazy explanations, the devious Diesel's gonna need his medication. When you hear Diesel's lame exaggerations, there'll be trouble in town tonight. Thomas!
I need someone to go to Kronk Fuel Depot and collect the new diesel fuel. Yes, Mr. Manager, I was just going to do that. Great. Mavis, why is there smoke coming out of your engine? Mr. Manager, it's not smoke, it's steam. Steam from the steamed water in my engine. An hour later, Thomas returned with the fresh diesel fuel. Thank you, Thomas, said Mavis. It makes me feel much better. Even Diesel had to admit that Thomas is useful. Soon Thomas and Mavis started working. When the job was done, Percy brought the fat controller to the quarry. Well done, Thomas, he said. I am very pleased with you. Yes, sir, said Mavis. Thomas is the best friend a Diesel can have. He then turned to Diesel. Diesel, as for you, you have been giving Thomas a hard time. No wonder his driver had to spank your driver. And Thomas, as a reward for all the hard work, you can come to Sodor Steamworks to visit Annie and Clarabelle. Wow, Thomas, you must have quite many adventures. Yes, well, I'll have to go now. Nice to see you guys. Goodbye, Thomas. Thanks for visiting. Meanwhile, Edward was pulling some trucks up Gordon's Hill when suddenly they broke away. Oh dear, I hope they're not going to destroy the new station. Then Thomas saw the runaway trucks. Oh my god, the trucks are heading towards the new station. I must stop them at once. Runaway trucks are coming. You must change the point. So the signalman did, and the trucks ran into a siding and smashed through the buffers. But the new station was saved. Thomas, what happened to the trucks? The trucks are derailed, but the station's saved. The next morning, Thomas was in the yard when Edward arrived. Annie and Clarabelle, you brought them back. Thank you. You're welcome. Then Thomas took Annie and Clarabelle to Kelsthorpe Road grand opening. Well done, Thomas, said the fat controller. You saved my new station. You are a hero and a credit to the railway. You're welcome, sir. It's good to have Annie and Clarabelle back. That night, Thomas puffed into Idmouth Sheds. Guess what? Not only that the station is opened, but I've got Annie and Clarabelle back. Big deal. I've got a new coat of paint. Oh, he's going to boast about it again. About what? When I was at the steamworks, after I broke down, Victor gave me a new coat of paint. And James has been boasting about it all day. Beautiful, isn't it? No wonder the fat controller thinks I'm special. Percy was upset. Does that mean the fat controller doesn't think I'm special? Oh, come on, Percy. Being special isn't the same as looking good or being really useful. Of course he does. The next morning, all the engines were working. The fat controller came to see James. I need you to pick up a huge load of coal and take it to the docks. The ship leaves at 4 o'clock, so no dilly-dallying. Yes, sir, said James, and he puffed away. Percy was shunting coal trucks for James. He was tired, and the trucks were very heavy. How many of them yet, sir? He asked the manager. Just keep shunting until James arrives, replied the manager.
And when you have finished, you can do your own job then.
James was enjoying being James and showing his red coat of paint. But Percy wasn't enjoying to be Percy. He was very tired. Oh dear, unless James will take the trucks to the docks, the Fat Controller will be
cross.
James arrived at Wellsworth. Gordon was leaving. The passengers had gone.
Why are they leaving? I don't bite.
At last, James arrived at the coaling plant. James, where have you been? It's afternoon already. I was just showing my new coat of paint. As a punishment, I need you to take these trucks to Brandon Docks. The docks are full of engines and people who are going to admire my coat of paint. Well, you better wish it's not going to be full of the Fat Controller. James pushes the trucks along the line. He's unaware that nothing's going fine. The trucks will start to moan. They rattle and they groan. Be careful, Jim, up with your Jim, that's the warning sign. Before long, James comes to Gordon's Hill. It's hard work and he really has to push. But soon he's at the top, he doesn't want to stop. On, the trucks go faster still.
Because those trucks will get the engines every time. Jumps and jumps when the engines are aligned. They don't care how big they are, to them it's just a game. Those jumps and jumps will get them all the same.
Oh, James, I like your new coat of paint. James felt very foolish indeed. But Percy had been delayed because of shunting trucks for James. Due to that, he delivered his mail by evening. Percy, where have you been? You missed the ship. Sir, I was shunting coal trucks and... No excuses. That's it. I will have to speak to the Fat Controller about your delay. No, please, sir. He would punish me. That night, Percy puffed to Tidmouth Sheds. All the engines were already sleeping. Then Percy heard a voice from outside the Tidmouth Sheds. It was the Fat Controller and Percy driver. So that's why he was late, sir. I see. Tomorrow, Percy must go to the scrapyard. Oh dear, the Fat Controller wants to scrap me, groaned Percy. The next morning, the engines woke up. What's the matter, Percy? Asked Thomas. The Fat Controller wants to scrap me. Oh, come on, Percy. And all because I was late. The Fat Controller wouldn't scrap an engine, even if they were late. Percy felt better. Then he saw the clock. I must go now, he said.
Maybe, if I'll be on time this time, the Fat Controller won't scrap me.
Percy's first job that day was to pick up some pipes and take them to Wellsworth. Cranky was taking his time. Hurry up, Slowcoat! I'll take as long as I like, said Cranky. Finally, Percy could go.
Next stop, Wellsworth Yard.
But on his way, he lost the pipes.
And he didn't even realize it.
Percy brought his truck to Wellsworth Yard, unaware that he hadn't delivered the pipes. His next job was to take some tar wagons to Vickerstown. Percy was impatient. When he was coupled up, he took off. Wait, Percy! You're not coupled to the brake van yet! Soon Percy approached Gordon's Hill. And rushed down the other side quickly. No racing, Percy. We're not running a race, said his driver. If you want me to be late, said Percy, then I will.
Oh, come on, Percy, don't be ridiculous. Ridiculous? The Fat Controller's going to scrap me.
Then Percy approached Kildane Station. Gordon was just waiting on a siding when suddenly Percy's brake went past Gordon. The signalman thought a train had passed, so he set the point. But then there was trouble. Gordon was covered with sticky tar. "Look what you've done! What would the fat controller say?" Percy thought he knew. "He's sure to scrap me," he groaned.
Soon Harvey brought the fat controller.
"Where is Percy? He's caused confusion and delay." "I don't know it either, sir," said Gordon. Soon Harvey started cleaning up the mess.
Thomas, you don't have any idea where your friend could be?
"I think I know. I heard him saying that you want to scrap him." "Scrap?"
Yes, he told me this morning, sir.
"Thomas, I need you to help me find Percy." Thomas and the fat controller were looking for Percy. "I think I know where he is, sir." "Really? Then where?" "At Tidmouth Sheds, of course." Soon Thomas arrived at Tidmouth Sheds. "Percy, are you there?" "Yes, sir. Do you want me to come out?" "Yes, I do." Percy was shocked. "Please don't scrap me, sir. I didn't mean to be late or cause confusion and delay." "Scrap you? Why would I do that? Percy, your driver told me that you were late because you had been busy shunting coal trucks for James. So I told it the dock manager and he understands it. So I told your driver that after you will take a huge scrap metal to the smelter's yard, you would be then delivering mail a whole week." "Really? Mail for a whole week?" "Exactly. And the accident wasn't your fault. It was that signalman. He thinks the train has passed when in fact it has not. I fired him." "Oh, sir, by the way, now that I've remembered, isn't that your wife's birthday tomorrow?" "Yes, Percy, it is." "I could take the brass band to the party." "I've never taken the brass band before." "No, Percy. I will choose another engine. But you can take the decorations there." "Okay."
You see, Percy, I told you. You should have believed me already.
Then Percy went to collect the lost pipes, and Boko took them to Wellsworth. Gordon had to go to the washdown. That night Percy was happier. "So it wasn't my fault. The fat controller doesn't want to scrap me. I was late because I was shunting coal trucks for James."
I had to keep shunting because James wouldn't come to collect the trucks. That's why.
"So you mean that your fear that you would be scrapped was my fault?" "No, James. But it actually is your fault. If you hadn't been taking so long, this would have never happened to poor Percy."
So getting dirty from the coal would serve you right for taking so long. Nonsense.
The next morning, the fat controller came to Tidmouth Sheds. "I have already decided who will take the brass band. Thomas."
Oh, thank you, sir. So I'll take them from Netford to Maithwaite? That's right. Thank you, sir.
James and Gordon were upset. They wanted to take the brass band. "It's not fair," said James. "I'm so unlucky. First I get my coat of paint covered with coal, and now I'm not even taking the brass band." "I'm not lucky either," said Gordon. "I got covered with tar, and I'm not taking the band either." Thomas arrived at Netford Station to collect the brass band.
Okay, we're going to Maithwaite Station. Jump in, guys. Hooray!
But then there was trouble. As he left, he didn't see that the tuba player was left behind.
Oh dear, tuba player, you're still there? Come on, Annie and Clarabelle.
"Oh dear, Thomas, come back!" "What's the matter, Clarabelle? Thomas hasn't left the guard behind again, has he?" No, he's left the tuba player behind. Oh dear. It's not fair, Thomas. How come you take the brass band instead of me? James, Thomas has left the tuba player behind. Oh, well. On his way to Knapford, James met Bertie. Hello, Bertie. Thomas has left the tuba player at Knapford.
Thomas was so excited about taking him. So now you can take him, Bertie, if you want. I can't believe Thomas is so impatient. Really, I'm not making it up, Bertie. Do you want to take him? Okay.
Thanks for telling me. The tuba player was at Knapford when... Oh, Bertie, there you are. I missed my train to Maithwaite. Could you give me a ride, please? Well, I can take you to Balgy's Bridge, I'm afraid. I'm very busy at the moment. Okay, I'll catch my next ride from there.
The tuba player stepped on Bertie and the journey began. The tuba player was enjoying to be traveling by Bertie the bus.
Annie and Clarabelle wanted to tell Thomas that the tuba player is missing, but he wouldn't listen to them. Thomas had arrived at Maithwaite station and was shocked. Where's the tuba player? We can't play without him. Oh dear, I must have left him behind, didn't I? I'm sorry, Mr. Tuba Player. Thomas was searching his branch line, but the tuba player was nowhere to be found. He even returned to Knapford, but he couldn't see him anywhere. Where could the tuba player be? Bertie dropped him at Balgy's Bridge. Bye-bye, said tuba player. He was waiting for his next ride, and it was Caroline the car. Oh, hello, Caroline. Do you think you could take me to Maithwaite? Hello, Mr. Tuba Player. Of course I will take you there. Jump in. The tuba player was happy. He liked to ride.
Caroline, the driver, had nothing against taking the tuba player to Maithwaite as he had missed his train.
But then there was trouble. Caroline overheated. Oh dear. Just then Elizabeth arrived. Hello, Elizabeth, my beautiful friend. Hello, Caroline. Hello, Mr. Tuba Player. Hello, Elizabeth. Do you think you could take me to Maithwaite? I was traveling by Caroline because I missed my train. I can take you to Trevor and he'll take you there. I'd like to return and help Caroline.
Okay, goodbye, Elizabeth. Goodbye, Mr. Tuba Player.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Goodbye. What about me? I'll send you help. Stay there. That's all I can do. The tuba player was enjoying to be riding on Elizabeth.
She wasn't taking him to Maithwaite, but at least she wouldn't broke down along the way.
Then she stopped. Trevor will take you from here, she said. Goodbye.
I have to go and help Caroline.
Goodbye. The tuba player was enjoying to be traveling by Trevor.
Finally he'll get to Maithwaite.
Meanwhile, Thomas was searching his branch line when suddenly he crashed. I'm sorry, Percy. Watch where you're going, said Percy. You think your apology will put the truck back on the rails? Soon Harvey arrived to clear the mess. How did you get in this mess, Thomas? He asked. I was looking for the tuba player. I lost him. Listen, if he's a tuba player, what instrument is he going to be playing? The tuba, of course. Exactly. You have to listen to the sound of tuba. Tuba player, where are you? Here I am, how do you do? Then Thomas took the tuba player to Maithwaite station, and the party was a great success. When Thomas returned to Knapford, the Fat Controller was cross. Thomas, I have heard that you've left the tuba player behind. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to. I see. Tomorrow, a circus is coming to Maithwaite station. Wow. I wanted to choose you, Thomas, to take it, but no, I will have to choose someone who's responsible. Please, sir, I am reliable and responsible. I was just excited and left the tuba player behind, but this time it won't happen, I swear. Very well, I'll see if I can choose you. That night the engines were laughing at Thomas. The fat controller shouldn't have chosen you, he should have chosen me. You left the tuba player behind. First, you leave the guard behind at Elsbridge and now the tuba player. Shut up, James. At least I didn't get my blue coat of paint covered with coal.
Or make Percy shunt coal trucks.
That can happen to any engine, but leaving a passenger behind at the station. First guard and then tuba player. Who will you leave behind next time? Your driver?
Never mind, Thomas. At least you weren't afraid the fat controller would scrap you.
The next morning the fat controller came to Tidmouth Sheds. Thomas, the circus train is waiting for you at Random Docks. You can take it. Thank you, sir. But the train is very heavy, so if an engine would offer you a help, let them help you. Yes, sir. And don't go over Gordon's Hill. Soon Thomas arrived at Random Docks. Hello, Mr. Thomas. Are you taking the circus train? Yes, Toad. That's good. I'm going to be your brake van.
Hello, me hearty. Shall I offer you a help? No thanks, Salty. I think I can manage. I'm not that weak. Right away. Off you go, then.
So he puffed away, but the train was very heavy. At Lower Surgery Yard, Thomas met Percy.
Thomas, do you need some help?
No thanks, Percy. It's nothing I couldn't manage. Then he saw James. If you would like to uncouple some of your trucks, I wouldn't mind taking them for you. No thanks, James. I think I can manage. Thomas travelled to Merron. At Merron, Thomas saw Caroline. Hello, Caroline, he said, but all Caroline said was, goodbye.
Thomas comes to Gordon's Hill. It's hard work and he really has to pull. But soon he's at the top, and then he just can't stop. On, the trucks go faster still.
Then there was trouble. Oh, slow down, Mr. Thomas. I can't, Toad. I would like to. Thomas couldn't stop. Then there was trouble. Thomas came to a complete stop. Oh dear, why didn't I ask my friends for help?
This would have never happened if I had. What a silly engine I am. You certainly are, Mr. Thomas. It was really dangerous.
Then Caroline arrived. Caroline, thanks goodness. Thomas, stop watching me. Caroline, I need your help, please. Thomas, about you don't have interest.
Find yourself somebody else.
Caroline, it doesn't matter. We could be just friends. We're not friends. I want to date my driver. And she left. Soon James brought some hay for the horses, and Percy brought Thomas his new piston rod. Thomas's driver and fireman putted the new piston rods to Thomas's wheel. Glad to see you. So are we. James, Percy, I'm sorry I refused your help. Now I wish you guys could help me. That's what we came here for, Thomas. Of course we will.
We make a team together,
1, 2, 3.
We go full steam together.
Him, you, me.
Best of friends forever we'll be.
Yeah, yeah.
Better together.
Thank you guys. You guys are the best friends an engine can have. Shirley. Mr. James, thank you, and you too, Mr. Percy, for bringing us here. I can't wait to tell Mr. Oliver about it.
And it's how told Oliver about the big circus train, and how Thomas broke piston rods and wasn't even helped by Caroline.
Thomas, do you now know why you should have shared your train with your friends? Yes, sir. And why did you go over Gordon's Hill and over Meron? I wanted as many people as possible to see my circus train. I know you meant well, but you shouldn't have. I suppose you have learned your lesson. Yes, sir. Did he scold you? No. Lucky you. Do you know what I do? I deliver passengers to Callan Castle. I hate it. Meanwhile, the Fat Controller came to see Emily. Emily, I would like you to pull the flower special. Thank you, sir. You guys, you won't believe what I do. I've been given the flower special. I have to do the Black Loch run, and there's a monster. I hate it. The next morning, Emily puffed to the flour mill. I'm excited. I've never taken the flour before. On the way, the trucks were very naughty. Hold back, hold back, hold back! Come on, trucks, stop holding me here! When Emily arrived at Knapford, it was very late. Emily, the bakery wasn't able to make any bread for breakfast because they didn't get the flour. One more time you're late, you will be doing Black Loch Run instead of James. Oh dear. The next morning, the trucks were naughtier still. Mustn't be late, mustn't be late. Fine. Emily took off, unaware that she's got only the half of the train. She arrived at Knapford and the Fat Controller was cross. Emily, you brought only half of the train. I'm sorry, sir. I'll bring the second half. The trucks were making her cross. Emily the late engine, Emily the late engine. What? I'll show you. Then there was trouble.
When the Fat Controller arrived, he was very angry at Emily. Emily, how do you want to explain this? You have spilled the flour out of the truck. How could you do such a thing on my railway? Sir, it wasn't my fault. The trucks were making me angry. So that's it. No excuses. You will do the Black Loch Run for James. No, sir. Please. I don't want to go there. It's very... No excuses, Emily. You are very irresponsible. Wait until you try. It can be fun, said Thomas. I don't think so. I don't want to meet that monster.
The next morning, Emily puffed to Kildane station to pick up holidaymakers. I mustn't let them down. I don't want the Fat Controller to be cross with me again. Emily puffed away. Then she saw the monster, and then rocks started to fall on the line. Then Emily saw what the monster actually was. A family of seals. Oh. Soon the track was cleared and Emily puffed on. Family of seals? Yes, Thomas. Would you like to see them? Of course. Oh, look at them. I told you this trip would be fun. And you were right. Family of seals? Are you sure? Yes. That means there's no sea monster. Ever since that, the engines all worked hard to make the Fat Controller pleased. And they weren't afraid of anything on Island of Soda. door that makes your dreams come true. Our adventure is over. I hope you have enjoyed it like the animator did.